Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, welcome to Nightcaps with Nate. Tonight's sponsor is, I'm on Team Joe, Anthony Whitmer, Democrat pedophile, standing in solidarity with his boy Joe, and also today's Me Too movement. Apparently, it only applies to Brett Kavanaugh, Donald Trump, and others on the right. It does not apply to Joe Biden because Nancy Pelosi said that she is satisfied with how Joe has responded, which has been no response at all.
You are in the free speech zone. No safe spaces allowed. Nightcaps with Nate.
Hey, welcome back to Nightcaps with Nate. It is Thursday, so we have our regular on here, Kareem Jackson. Kareem, how are you, bro? You turned up. Tell them what you're drinking.
Hey, I'm feeling so good tonight. I'm happy Natalie came back to the show. I can't wait for this. You know, we're going to have some good debates, and I'm at the killer tonight. But I'm on that first connection. That's 1738 Remy and your classic Grandma Ye.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with this.
What that really means is that he was running out of 1738 and he had to mix it with something, so he made a fancy drink out of it, a name out of it.
We'll never know. Go make our first connection. Great happy hour drink.
Go ahead. What do you got, Natalie?
Oh, I just have a glass of Riesling.
Yeah, I keep it simple too.
You know the brand. John poured it for me and gave it to me. So.
And I got the usual Bacardi and Diet Coke. It's a diet because I'm on a diet. It makes me feel better about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm turned up tonight too. I got my special Trump hat on.
Let's go.
Woo!
And I'm getting one of those, baby. Next show I need to have one.
That's right. Natalie, I'll send you one too.
We can all have them on next Thursday.
That's right. You can just join that Trump train, baby. Trump train.
You looking good right now.
Hey, guess what? Joe Biden, after 3 weeks with the media barely covering it, if at all, Joe Biden is going to break his silence. He is a brave man. He's going to break his silence on staffers' sexual assault claims after mounting pressure to personally address accusations. And he is going to do it on a very hard-hitting television show called The Morning Joe on MSNBC. That, I'm being facetious. Guess what? He's going to go get a bunch of softball questions from a fake Republican who used to be a Republican, by the way, Joe Scarborough, down there in Florida. And then he cheated on his wife with Mika Brzezinski, his co-host there. Now they're married, Mika and Joe. And Mika is like a super liberal. And she's basically influenced him to come on over. He's been perverted by Washington. But anyways, he's going to go on the show. Joe Biden will break his silence on a sexual assault accusation Friday morning on Morning Joe. NBC News announced on Thursday the presumptive Democratic nominee was facing pressure to address allegations from Tara Reid. Not pressure from the media, by the way, pressure from the right and from his election staffers, because sometimes it's better to get it all out there instead of letting it just slowly drip. And that's what was happening when the media was trying to do him a favor, and it was slowly dripping little by little. So what does it do? It stays in the news cycle forever. And so the media isn't like the media of the 90s and the 80s where they can get away with that. The mainstream media now has to actually answer for certain things because we do have one powerful media outlet, one. Y'all got tons, but we got one. That's Fox News Channel. And we also have this thing called the internet where stuff gets out. And if you don't address it, then it gets blown out of proportion. Not just out of proportion, then fake stories start coming about it. Natalie, what's up with your Me Too movement, man?
With my well, here's the thing, and I say it every show, and I'll say it again. I don't consider myself a Democrat, and I don't.
I say that. I said Me Too.
Yep. And so, in Me Too, and you have to understand too that Me Too is separate from any party. It didn't start. It started with the hashtag Me Too. Some women, were talking about their past, and they're saying, and it continued on and on that they were, sexually assaulted, and they said Me Too, and it just continued. And almost every woman in America, 1 out of 4 have been Me Too'd, and that's amazing. That is something that's completely separate from the Democratic Party. So now, with that said, the Democratic Party and liberals, the left, they jumped on Me Too, and we kind of claimed it as ours. So when you do that, when you are supporting a candidate like Joe Biden, who has allegations against you, even if it's just one allegation, the question is are you with Me Too, or are you not with Me Too? Because you can't do both.
Well,
so there's hypocrisy.
You said that there's only one allegation. That's only because the rest of the allegations are little kids, and they don't have. Apparently, they're not old enough to get their parents to like stand up for him because he gropes chest and grabs faces.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
We know of one, and and Trump has allegations too. That's the other thing. So
over 18, yeah, over 18-year-olds.
But would you really put it past him though?
Yeah, I don't think Trump would be doing that.
On. That's a low blow, man.
Okay, all right, fine, fair. But there is, there's still sexual allegations on both sides, and so, and the other thing, and something that I was talking about with a few friends of mine on Facebook is it's sure is funny that the conservatives are on board this year with Me Too, because last year Me Too was the devil. It was the thing that was bringing Kavanaugh down. I mean, it was this terrible thing, but now everybody, all the conservatives, we're supporting it now.
Actually, Me Too was bipartisan back in the day because they actually took down Al Franken. I was actually kind of proud of the Me Too because they did go after Al Franken and he had to give up his Senate seat. Okay.
Man, now, Me Too went after everybody.
They went after everybody, comedian, right, left, whatever. But now that we got somebody running for president, now all of a sudden, whoa.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi says she's happy.
The thing is that the DNC is in Iraq, in a rock and a hard place because they have Biden, and we're already in 2020. This isn't early 2019. We're already in 2020. He's the main candidate. The primaries are pretty much over. We still have a few, but Big Tuesday's over.
I made a prediction.
And so the Democrats, they're like, well shit, what do we do? Do we go with Biden, or do we pull him out this late in the game and hope that somebody can? I mean, they're just really in a terrible place.
You know who they're gonna get, and I called it 2 or 3 weeks ago. Who do you think is they're gonna get to run? Kareem. Who do you think they're gonna?
Cuomo, New York.
That's right. You know why? Because he appeals. He really appeals to both sides of the aisle. And what has he been doing this whole coronavirus thing? He's been appealing to moderates. He said, no, we're not going to, I don't have money for illegal immigrants and all that stuff. De Blasio, we're going to see this a little bit later. He's going after De Blasio because of the homeless people. He's like, y'all got to clean up the subways. Taxpayers are paying for that,
Oh, yeah. And CNN love him. CNN love him.
Brother works for him.
Oh, yeah. So, but Cuomo handled himself very well. I am impressed. You gave him a C+. I would give him a B+, but Biden, he's in trouble.
Biden's in trouble.
Even without these allegations, he just Democrats could have did a better job than this.
Well, the thing is I was reading about it, and I mean, maybe somebody can fill me in. It happened in 1993, and she was groped against the wall while he was her aide.
Yeah.
That's what the sex.
No. Hands down her skirt and fingered her.
Oh
wow.
Okay.
He went hard. He went hard in the paint.
She accused Biden of putting his hand down her skirt. I don't know, maybe it was up her skirt. But anyways, down her skirt in a congressional hallway up against the wall in 1993. The week she also suggested the media. Remember, she's a Democrat, so she's very upset right now with the Me Too movement and stuff. She said the media has been burying her story with no major outlet except for Fox News Channel, inviting her to do an on-air interview. Biden will now speak with Morning Joe host Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, and Willie Geist, the network said. Dude, that is not where you do it. You know what? At a minimum, go on a Sunday show where maybe, just maybe, George Stephanopoulos or somebody will get you. You know what? Go on Fox News Sunday with what's his name, Wallace, and do his show. His dad was the guy on 60 Minutes. And he's always been anti-Trump.
If she see this, she need to come on Nightcap with Nate.
That's right.
So we can ask her questions.
Right. And Joe, you're welcome too. And I won't even do a sponsorship that day with a meme of you, Joe. You come on my show.
Well, exactly. but I wasn't finished. So then after it happened way back in 1993, her mother calls into Larry King Live.
Right.
And where is this tape of her mother calling in? Because it did happen. We know it happened.
CNN or Google, one of the two got rid of it.
Yeah.
It was on the show. It was on the show a few
awful.
nights ago. I brought it up on the show a few nights ago.
Yep, that's terrible.
Here's the deal. Bottom line, because we gotta move on just a little bit. If you don't think the media is biased, you don't think the media is biased after this, then you got your head in the sand. Go ahead, Kareem.
Yeah, but we already know it's biased. But remember the Supreme Court judge that Trump appointed? He went through this same.
Yeah, Brett Kavanaugh.
Man, he was the only person I've seen go through this and really challenge it and handle it, and came out, successful,
Well, he came out because it was a Senate that was going to confirm him no matter what. I think Brett Kavanaugh hurt himself a little bit during the hearings. This is back in the day because he got really defensive and kind of rude and snippy, and he shouldn't have. But there was absolutely no real supporting allegation. You know what? I think Joe should be given more respect than what they gave Brett Kavanaugh. But the media should do their damn job and go after him like Brett Kavanaugh. And the senators and all these Democrats that called for the FBI to investigate Brett Kavanaugh and actually got a quick investigation by the FBI, they should do the same thing with Joe. Because
we'll see if it happens.
It won't. Yeah. It won't. The Democrats will make sure it doesn't happen. Continue on with Joe Biden. Fire Chris Hayes. He's like a liberal. He's a liberal on MSNBC. And guess what the liberals want? The tolerant liberals, the free press liberals, the pro-press liberals want him fired because he dared to be the first one to actually, with his show that gets hardly any ratings, but he dared to actually devote some time to the Joe Biden scandal. In fact, it has been so little covered that all the networks combined have given Pence not wearing a mask at the Mayo Clinic site 3 times more coverage than the Biden sexual scandal. But ABC finally relents and covers the sexual assault claim against Joe Biden. Still, and Politico came out with a piece today that said, "Oh, well, I give the press a gold star because on April 12th, Associated Press, Washington Post, and New York Times gave some time to it." Everybody's like, wait, time out. Just because you gave a little bit of time to it, we're not asking for that. As conservatives, what we are asking for is as much vitriolic going after hardcore investigative journalism that you did to Brett Kavanaugh or that you did to Donald Trump. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for any extra. We're asking just for the same amount.
And it's not a Democratic, this is not a Democrat Republican thing. We just want justice. We want what's right.
That's right.
Let's get down to the bottom of me too. Let's get down to the bottom of this, see what's going on, and see if this man is fit to run our country.
And I agree with the Democrats and me too. Every woman should be at least heard. And the media has not allowed her to be heard yet. Let her have her day in the media. Let her present her influence.
And you know that she's kind of liberal. I mean, she's got to be at least like left-leaning because she was working for Biden in the first place. That's a left-leaning person. So, I mean, how offensive is that your own people aren't even giving you coverage?
And if anybody comes out and says, hey, you put yourself in that situation, everybody knows Joe Biden's a creep, I'd say no. No, it's never the woman's fault. Nobody has the right to touch you like that, even if it is Creepy Joe and you knew about his creepy past.
But, this is just a classic case of putting all your eggs in one basket. The Democrats, they really got some work to do.
They got a lot of work to do. They're an idiot. They had Elizabeth Warren, which Trump would have killed her because she's been caught in so many lies. They had Mayor Pete. His only thing was the Midwest really ready for a first husband with a male president. They had all types of people. They had Klobuchar. She could have been doing well right now. She didn't have anything bad in her basket. She was kind of quiet and off-putting. She was mean to her staffers, but that's sometimes leadership. Hell, we're all in the Army. We all got toxic bosses. They had all types of candidates that they could have put forward, but the way the Democrats do it is that they say, "Oh, it's your turn." The only reason why Barack Obama got away with it and cut in line of Hillary, which was her turn, was because he was going to be the first black president, and the Democrats would never have stood in the way of that. And it proved successful because he was a 2-term president.
Yeah, he was coming though. He was not going to be denied, so they had to. He was coming.
Yeah,
he was coming.
Yeah. No, they should have just for once back Bernie. I mean, like at least 50% of us
give him a try.
Lefties, at least 50% of us like Bernie.
The Republicans,
they don't even have to push anybody. They don't have to push an agenda or anything. They should have just said, "We're just going to back Bernie."
Yeah, that's what the Republicans had to do with Trump.
Yeah,
and believe me, the establishment was not happy with Trump. They did not like the fact that Trump was winning. In fact, they thought, man, we just gave the election to Hillary, and lo and behold, Trump won. But
man, that was crazy. That was epic.
I couldn't believe it. I was watching the elections, and it just felt like.
Be honest, were you crying?
Other state, and my jaw was on the ground.
Man, I had to sleep on the couch for a week, man.
Did you?
Man, my wife was upset about that.
Does she like Trump now?
Nah, this is a house divided. I told you that was the first show. This is a house divided. Now my kids turned against me.
I like your wife already.
Your kids turned against you?
I ain't got nothing but my dog, man. My dog.
Man, you are stigmatized, man. We got to re-interview you for this show.
I know, man. My own household, but don't forget about me now. I need to vent.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. By the way, I don't know. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
Most men over 40 are sick, and they don't.
Huh?
Oh, I was just gonna say, we need to have a week where we kick Kareem out. We get his wife up in here.
Hell no.
Oh man.
Yeah, come on. It could be ladies' night.
Hey, we could do a show.
She get like a 10 minutes. She gets 10-minute segment. I don't want her to get to going too hard out here. She's from California.
She and I, we're just gonna talk to her and be like, "Can you believe this?" And she'll be like, "No."
Hey, well, I'm sure she'll be down for it.
Sorry, that was me playing for the audience. That girl that was screaming when Trump won. You saw that one where she's on her knees and she's got like I think it's during the Pussy Hat riot or whatever they call it.
Hey, that morning after Trump won was like Monday in Dallas after the Cowboys lost in America. It was sad, man.
It was sad for the media. It was funny.
Oh man. No, it was funny. Oh man. I was a face commander at the time. I walked into my office, you would think somebody died in there because it was so many, in the Army you can't really say who you voted for. You can, but
most of the Army's pretty conservative though. I'm surprised. Where were you stationed at?
Yeah, but here in Florida. But my office, recruiters, I had 13 recruiters in my station. They all come from different walks of life. I had like 3 female recruiters. So, I think all 3 of them voted for,
her,
Hillary. And I had a lot of Hispanic recruiters in my office and a lot of Black recruiters. It's demographic based. So here down in Florida, it's a large Hispanic community. So they put a lot of Hispanics and females.
Yeah, but a lot of the Hispanics in Florida are actually Republicans because they're Cuban. There's a lot of in fact, that's the biggest base of Republicans for the Hispanic voters in Florida. Hey, don't worry.
Cuban Democrat. Yeah.
Don't worry. Joe has seen the error of his way, and Joe is saying, hey, you know what? I gotta have somebody go out and vet these females. It can't be me because I'm known as a pervert. So who does he get? Well, he gets the guy named Chris Dodd. Former senator in charge of vetting Joe Biden's running mate took part in, quote, waitress sandwich with Teddy Kennedy, which left women 24 bruised, shaken, and angry. Yep. So he's got a pervert vetting his nominees now. So Biden announced co-chairs of his VP search community. Here's what happened. According to the story, the men, Dodd and Kennedy, the late Kennedy, the one that's dead now, Ted Kennedy, they were finishing up a long dinner in December 1985 in a private room at the D.C. restaurant La Brasserie and were drunk. Of course they were drunk. All right. Their dates, 2 very young blondes, leave the table. They're drunk. Betty Lowe, who is serving the foursome, she leaves the room. And so the manager's like, hey, you, Carla Gaviglio, the senators want you to wait on them. And so you got to go do it. These are VIPs, right? So as Gaviglio enters the room, the 6'2", 225+ Kennedy grabs the 5'3", 103-pound waitress and throws her on the table. She lands on her back, crashing all the crystals. The candles go flying, right? The lit candles. Several glasses and crystal Candlesticks are broken. Kennedy then picks her up from the table and throws her on Dodd, who is sprawled in a chair. With Gaviglio on Dodd's lap, Kennedy jumps on, and they're simulating like a double penetration threesome sex. Right? Of course, there's clothes on, right? So she gets up. She's screaming. The dishwashers come in. They're like, hey, what are you doing? You know? Of course, they're all drunk, and they leave. And, you know, so she's like felt sexually assaulted, right? This right here, having this guy vet your VP, your woman VP, is like having Brett Kavanaugh getting all his brothers from college, right? Vetting his next, assistant clerk. It is the most insane thing the optics here just hurt. It's like going and getting your frat boys.
Oh,
and say, hey man, can you go take care of this? Go find my running mate.
But I thought they were going to try to ask Michelle Obama to be the vice president.
She already said no. She has no desire to be around the White House. She hated the White House. She hated being locked up all the time. She would sneak off with her Secret Service. They'd sneak out and go to Target and stuff because she just wanted to be a regular woman. She hated the White House.
Well, there goes the neighborhood.
That's messed up. Not laughing at that.
I'm not laughing at that either. I'm not laughing at that. There goes the neighborhood, you know. Are we talking about that? There goes the White House, put it that way.
Oh, okay. Guess what?
Yeah.
Now, he's going to pick Kamala Harris, I think, or Stacey Abrams. Both, I think, horrible candidates. Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris can speak. She's a litigator. She's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But her first job was given to her because she was sleeping with Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco. Okay? Not exactly the women's movement candidate that we have, right? That we want. Somebody who had to sleep her way in. Second,
you are on point tonight, brother. You are on point tonight, man.
Hey, I'm just.
You are fired at all
facts.
tonight.
Second,
this is what I'm talking about.
Stacey Abrams is really. What can she do? She doesn't speak well on the stump. She doesn't. I mean.
Oh man.
Go ahead, Natalie. Who do you think should be?
I'm actually rooting for Kamala Harris to come in. You know, I mean, I think that she had a pretty good base. You know, especially she had a black base too of the African American community. I mean, like she had a decent base, and I think that she would actually help Biden. I don't know about the allegations of her sleeping her way in, though.
Well, when she was 30, Harris was dating 60-year-old Willie Brown at the time, who was cheating on his wife with her, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has a good base, but do you think the fact that she's married to has a white husband, how do you think that affects her image in the black community?
They don't care.
I don't
think so.
I mean, you're starting to see a lot of black women with white men now. Remember how it used to always be black men with white women? Seriously. Like, we had a joke, and this is no offense, we used to like, oh, man.
Hold on. The sisters, man.
You're seeing a lot more.
You see a lot more.
Candace Owens has a white husband.
Yeah, but it's still a strong dynamics. But we're talking about Democrats, not Republicans. Mm-hmm. We talking about Democrats. Democrats are still that urban, grounded minority community.
Here's the thing,
I don't know, man.
You brought up a great point. If you're talking about, like, remember I was just talking about Dodd and all them. I mean, picking his vice president for him or vetting him.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a party that hates old white straight men. He sure has a lot of old white straight men doing his bidding for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Kamala Harris, I think she would. So when she was 30, she was dating 60-year-old Willie Brown. At the time, the Democrat Speaker of the California State Assembly, when he placed her on the California Medical Assistance Commission, the position back then paid $70,000 or $120,000 in current money, and Harris served on the board until '98. It's
a good job.
Hey, if you got it like that, and you can get a guy to point you to a great position, I guess do it,
I don't know all the ins and outs about it, but I know this race is going to be interesting.
Yes.
And when we get into the meat and potatoes of this race, Nightcap with Nate is going to be at all-time high because it's going to be interesting. I'm for real. The topics are going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
When we get into the heat of the race, when all this coronavirus stuff goes. Hey, speaking of coronavirus.
Oh my God.
Republicans do not extend state of emergency, vote to sue Governor Whitmer instead. Part of that was because a bunch of armed people were in the Capitol today. Because in Michigan, you could carry your guns as long as it's open carry. You could carry them on the state Capitol grounds. Incredible scenes at Michigan Capitol as anti-lockdown protesters armed with rifles stormed Senate gallery while lawmakers wearing bulletproof vests vote against extending Governor Gretchen Whitmer's state of emergency. They were peaceful. They were carrying their weapons, but they were slung. They weren't like at the ready or anything like that. This is, by the way, in international press. So Michigan, kudos to you. You're making international press because your governor decided that she was going to have a super strict lockdown trying to get the VP slot. Oh, guess who's probably not in the running anymore for VP?
Don't say Whitmer.
She's not in the running, I don't think, anymore. She's
Oh, man.
I think she's just going to stick with her job as governor of Michigan and try to pick up her pieces because she's in shambles after this, I think.
Politics and stuff.
What do you think? So basically, there's two laws in Michigan. One is from 1940 something that says that the governor does not have to get extension authority from the legislator. Another one, and I think 1970 something says, hey, you can. The state of emergency has to be extended through the legislator. She's depending on the older law to say no, but don't need your authority because you never repealed that law. I think it's going to become a hairy mess in the lawsuit. I think it's bad for Whitmer. She should acquiesce, and the reason why, yeah, she would look like a loser now to the Republicans in the House and Senate of Michigan. But again, it goes back to that slow drip. Do you really want this going over the next year being litigated in the courts? And
yeah, I think it's a shame, that they're even doing this. I mean, what did she really do wrong? She wants people to get better, she wants to stay home.
She did that shit to get her she did it because she wanted to become vice president, and she went farther than all other 50 states. Here's where she really drew the line, right? You could go boating as long as it doesn't have a motor on it. Like, what the frick's the difference? Oh, well, because there's germs on the gas handle. You know what? Every gas pump, wear gloves.
Well, with good reason. I mean, yesterday there were over 1,000 new cases in Michigan. Right now Jersey's got over 2,000. New York has over 4,000, which means that, in Jersey,
all Democrat states, by the way,
same, because Jersey and New York are right next to each other, and it's because of New York City. And so, so she has, she's like what, number 3 or number 4 new cases in the country. She's trying to nip this crap in the bud. I mean, I don't think that she did anything crazy.
First of all, she's 1, 2, 3, 4.
That warrants being sued by the House of Representatives.
Today, she's 7th in new cases. Why is it though that all the Democrat states have such high cases, man? But we won't go on that because we beat that up. Democrats just don't lead very well.
Well, what else do you want to do? You're already saying that she's doing too much.
She's doing
this Democrat-led state that's doing so awful. I mean, what is she doing wrong, Nathan?
There's a difference between smart quarantine and just dumbass no point in your order quarantine. People can live with a smart quarantine, but to shut off golfing.
Go ahead, real quick. I mean, what we have learned about this coronavirus thing and the political aspect of it, the Democrats, we have one Democrat in New York that has really risen, and his fame has just went crazy, and he's getting a lot of kudos from both sides of the house. And we have another Democrat that just whole probably political career is probably, I don't know what's going to happen after this term.
No, Whitmer's going to come out of this golden. She's either going to let it drop and just do what they want her to do or whatever. She's either going to do that, or she's going to continue on, and then she's going to be.
I will say,
Democratic hero in
Michigan, the odds of re-election are really high. Almost every governor that I know of that has been elected has had at least another re-election. So, almost for sure that's the case.
I look forward to this election. Then I'm gonna keep my eye on this. I'm gonna have to do my research.
That's like
when is this election?
I think she came in 2018 election, so 2022 should be that election.
So she okay.
By then, Nightcaps with Nate would be a nationally syndicated show. All of us will be on it.
And we need that topic. We need to bring that up.
We will.
I'm throwing that out there right now. Let's follow the Michigan election for governor.
All right. In my fairness, I always try to take on. Because I am a libertarian, not just a Trump supporter, not just a Republican. I'm a libertarian. So when Trump does something stupid, I've been on this show and I say it. And I disagree with him on this next thing. He's saying Stockholm Syndrome. Trump says Sweden is paying heavily for not ordering coronavirus lockdown as he boasts U.S. made the correct decision. I disagree. Totally disagree. I know I'm in the minority here, but Sweden has said, hey, you know what? We're not locking down the country. We're not going to quarantine. They let some of the schools stay open and stuff on purpose because they want everybody to get it, all the healthy people to get it. And then, you keep away the vulnerable, and then we get that herd immunity. That way we're not hoping and waiting on a vaccine that may never even come, by the way. Everybody keeps thinking like, oh, in today's science, we're going to get a vaccine. That's not guaranteed. So Sweden says, hey, the Stockholm could reach herd immunity. That means 60 to 70% of the people have already got it, passed it. And that means that once you get to 60 or 70%, the virus can't replicate. So you basically have wiped it out as if everybody got vaccinated. Sweden has taken a controversial approach to the coronavirus pandemic, imposing fewer restrictions than its neighbors. Trump's saying, well, a lot of people have died. But really, Sweden is at 256 deaths per million. But they're on the brink of herd immunity. So when they're done, when their curve goes over, they're done because everybody's already had it. Whereas all we're doing is delaying the inevitable. What we're doing is we're hunkering down and we have this artificial flattened curve, but as soon as we open back up, what's going to happen? We're going to go way up, right? Yeah. So Sweden, once they get past their hump, they're done because they've already let everybody get it. They're at 256 deaths per million, on par with Rhode Island, less deaths per million than District of Columbia, Michigan, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. In other words, Sweden might have gotten something right because like when you have to get like, have you ever had like an EKG or something where they put a bunch of things on you and they have to rip it off? I mean, Natalie, you don't have chest hair, but guys, that hurts, right?
That hurts.
So what do? Do you slowly pull it off? You just rip the bandage off, man. Just one.
Yeah, we just take it.
Natalie had to have one of those procedures, and she had them all over her head.
Well, it's just like this next story I'm going to show you. Actually, I'm going to fast forward here real quick, and then we'll go back. Speaking of ripping off, Kate Hudson says that she has mastered bikini waxes during quarantine after talking up her sex life with partner Danny Fujiwara. Almost famous actress Kate Hudson has mastered bikini waxes during quarantine because she couldn't get them done, and she didn't want to be burly down below, so she just decided to learn how to do it on herself. Okay?
Ouch!
Ouch! Ouch is right, Natalie. You know why? Because it's one thing to have somebody do it for you, and you're like, oh, and you're grabbing onto something. It's kind of like, I can't. You hear about that guy who got stuck in rocks and he couldn't get out, so he sawed his own arm off? It's different when somebody else is sawing your arm off besides you doing it yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She is a celebrity. She has more money than freaking God. How come she doesn't go and get a laser hair removal?
That is true. Yeah, because obviously she's committed to
waxing.
Right.
Oh.
I agree, but I heard laser hair removal. I know to our audience we have taken a turn just because we were talking about pulling off Band-Aids. It was just a perfect segue. But I heard laser hair removal feels like getting like a rubber band snapped against you a bunch of times. Yeah, you get it over with.
Laser hair removal. Yes, that's exactly what it feels like.
You've had it?
Yes.
Where at? Oh, no. You're my sister.
That's for another show, man. Nobody want to hear that. You're going to have people throwing up, man.
Yeah, never mind. Don't want to know. So, yeah, I heard that it kind of hurts. But, yeah, you're right. Why didn't you just get laser hair removal and I got it. You know what, Kareem? Why did we ever have my sister on this show? If it was any other girl, I'd say, hey, fair game. You're on Nightcaps with Nate. You got to answer now. But I have no desire to know. And let's move on to the next story. So, anyways, I think Sweden did it the right way, man. They pulled off the Band-Aid, okay? They waxed themselves, okay? They laser hair removed themselves.
When it comes to coronavirus and reopening and everything, I have no comment on it.
Here's what's going to happen. The cases are going to spike. The liberal music, I told you so. That's why Trump needs to get out right now and say, hey, before we open this economy, yes, the cases are going to go up again, but we're going to manage it. We're going to manage it and try to get people immune to it. But he just shot his own message because that's what he always does. He shoots his own message.
But
go ahead.
Well, what Governor DeSantis did down here in Florida, we're in phase 1 where they're opening back up. And he expressed to the people the cases might spike, but they might spike because there's more testing. available and more testing being done. And what he did, he said, we're not going to do it based off the results of the testing. There's another system they're going to use to determine
hospitalizations, the capacity of their hospitals.
Yeah, and deaths and things like that.
How can your wife not like DeSantis? Oh, tell me that. We got to get your wife on the show.
Yeah, but we had Rick Scott before that.
Yeah.
He wasn't that bad. That's my boy.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. My boy, he's a senator now, right?
Yeah, Senator Rick Scott. Senator Rick Scott. Hey, that's my boy, man. Shout out to Senator Rick Scott.
Hey, you're welcome on the show anytime you want, Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, actually, anybody with over 10,000 followers, you're welcome on the show.
Yeah.
Our standards are not high yet, but they will be someday, so get in now. All right, next story. Our standards are so low that we have Natalie on here. Just kidding. Okay. I love you. I'm just joking.
Shout out to Natalie.
Shout out.
I've met Dana Nessel before.
Who's she?
I've seen Gretchen Whitmer and the VP Gillette. I always screw up.
He's not the VP, Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah, Lieutenant. I've seen them live. I went to the Lansing DNC. And right now I have a friend of mine who's running for Senate too. And I could actually get her on the show. No, my friend Lily, but
we'll take it.
State?
Huh?
What state?
No, state senator, a local senator, not a national senator.
Okay.
Hey, on this show, we'll take anybody at this moment. All right, so, dude, crazy stuff, man. Remember Trump and all the Trump supporters always talked about the deep state and the media laughed at us and stuff? Sure as crap, man. Now they're finding out. Have you heard about, remember Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn? Trump's always talking about how he got railroaded by the FBI. Come to find out, they declassified some of the papers in his investigation. And this is from CBS News. So we're not talking like, some fringe news, right? Docs just unsealed, including handwritten notes. That's what you see at the bottom right. Top left here, handwritten notes. And then the transcripts here, it said, what is our goal? Truth or admission, or get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired. Read transcript notes. So basically what they're saying, get him to lie. Bombshell documents reveal FBI effort to set up Michael Flynn and try to just get him to lie. That way they can get fired because they want to dismantle the Trump administration. I'm telling you, the more we hear about the FISA abuse, the FISA court abuse, James Comey and all that, they were some crooked, that was a crooked FBI under the end of President Obama. And I want to know, what did President Obama know? And Attorney General, back then it was, at that time, it was not the guy, it was the girl Lynch. I want to know what she knew about her FBI and all the spying that went on against the Trump administration, because that's some Watergate stuff. I'll tell you what, again, media, if this were Trump and he had his FBI spying on, say, Biden coming up, and all this evidence comes out later, let's say Biden won, God forbid, I guarantee you, President Trump, as a private citizen, would be under indictment right now. And just because President Obama, he could probably turn a blind eye and say, hey, I didn't know. But Attorney General at the time, Loretta, I think was her name, Loretta Lynch, she should be investigated too. James Comey should be investigated. Right now there is an investigation going on from the U.S. Attorney's Office up in Connecticut, I think. I hope something comes of it, because we cannot have unfair elections in this country. We can have an unfair media because it's a free press. We're not allowed to tell them what to report on. But we cannot have unfair elections in this country. Otherwise, we are no different than any of those South American countries that, or any of these banana republics. Go ahead.
I totally agree. But I totally agree. This is ridiculous. Trump has been the most polarized president I think we have had, and for all negative reasons. And they take clips of sound bites and dive deep into things and just blow it out of proportion. And it's really just.
Where's the media, though? This is, again, every night I ask, where is the media? This is the media's job. This is why we have a free press, is to keep everybody accountable. Natalie, are you there? I think Natalie's frozen. Yeah, I think Natalie's frozen. Totally frozen. It's just me and you right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't make news. And are we looking for ratings, or are we looking for getting the truth and finding out what's really going on?
And the truth will naturally lead to ratings. It's a great story. It used to be that the media was supposed to go after ratings. These would be the salacious stories that would actually make this is like stuff that movies are made of. Kareem, I mean this is the deep state. This is what you remember the Bourne trilogy, Jason Bourne. You know, this is what that stuff's all about. You know.
Yeah, but not in today's times because that scandal, like you said, Watergate type coverage that should be. But hey, I guess we got so much going on where we could turn a blind eye to those type of issues.
Hey, you know what? Here's what happens when you got people that are so tough behind a computer without their identity. They're tough.
Right.
But this guy here, he decided he's gonna be like an anti-Jewish, racist guy, and he got outed. He was a lieutenant on the fire department in New York City. EMS lieutenant spews racist, anti-Semitic tweets, but cried when confronted. And here he is, big old guy, just bawling. He's a bigot and blubbering crybaby, New York Post reports. EMS Lieutenant Timothy Dluhos, 34, used an image of Hitler for his profile photo and Bad Lieutenant as his online name as he spews and barrage of racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, and anti-Asian comments. Called his mayor the King Jew and King Hebe on Twitter. It was a whole list of it. What's crazy is this guy was so tough when they got confronted, he broke down. My career is ruined, and he literally. There's a photo on here of him just blubbering like a baby. I just think it's funny. You know what? If you're going to be a racist, first of all, we have overused, especially the left, the term racist to where it doesn't really mean as much.
Right.
This right here is where you really mean it. When a guy knows that he's been caught and that he even knows that the stuff that he has spewed out is so nasty that he's bawling like a baby. These are the people I'm glad that they get caught.
Hey, but I got a question for you. We should. I know it's a little off the subject for what we're supposed to be discussing tonight, but the draft just took place, and the New England Patriots just drafted a player that had the 3% tattoo on his forearm. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know about that.
Oh man, we should have discussed that. But we could say that for next week's show. I know you're gonna do your research and then.
Well, I know what 3%er is. 3%er, the media likes to make them out as a racist group. They're not. There's a lot of black people in the 3%ers. So 3%ers is a gun rights group that says, hey, 3% of the Patriots stood up against the King of England, and only the American history likes to say that all of America rose up in arms against the king. No, only about 3% of the people were willing to do it, and they caused the Revolutionary War. So 3%er is not a bad thing at all.
So he got the 3% tattoo on his forearm, but the young man said he's going to remove it because he doesn't believe in what it used to stand for. He got it. He was a young.
He wants an NFL contract, and he knows that some people. See, here's a problem. This is and this is what I always say. So the media will take and they'll find a few white supremacists who will co-opt a symbol and say, "Oh, this is ours, right?" Or we're part of the 3%ers. And the 3%ers might even be like, "Hey, I don't even want you to be on this thing," right? But the media will now paint the whole movement as some white nationalist racist thing. That's like saying, "Hey, Obama likes to slap bitches and do that because he had a few rappers at the White House. He had Jay-Z at the rap.
Slap bitches and fuck hoes.
Right. But just because Jay-Z is a rap artist and was at the White House doesn't mean that Obama subscribes to his rap lyrics.
Right.
And that's that guilt by association that I just don't like, man. It's like in the media it's just, I don't know. The 3% is nothing more than a patriotic symbol. And it's
this young man took a lot of scrutiny behind that tattoo.
And I would remove it too if it prevented me from getting multi-million-dollar deals. I'll tell you what. If they wanted me to tattoo that on my nutsack, I would do it for a few $1 million. I mean, shoot, why not? So you're talking about NFL draftee claims he thought 3%er tattoo was, this is a military.com. I don't know why. It must have been, was a military support symbol. But all you had to say is it's a gun rights symbol. Who cares?
Yeah, Marshall, but he said he don't believe. I don't know exactly what he said. I think he made a statement saying he don't believe in it anymore or whatever. And I've been watching a lot of sports shows, and they're all saying that. And these sports shows that predominantly got African Americans as analysts, and they didn't have any issue with it. I didn't have any issue with it either. But it's just like, you know, I could kind of mirror it to a young man coming from a neighborhood that might have a lot of gangs, and he might have a gang tattoo.
Right, but
And
that's
he gets out of the neighborhood, goes
kind of like the
to a
tattoo
stranger's
review that
life,
we had
and
to
then he
do
removes it.
in the military as recruiters. We had to do a tattoo review if it looked suspect, But this is military.com. This is the photo. I got it on the screen. I know you guys can't see it. It said, "What's a 3%er?" Named after the rather dubious idea that only 3% of colonists rose up against the British. 3%ers are a paramilitary group that aims to resist intervention by the federal government in local affairs. It's not exactly true. It's a gun rights group is what it really is. It's basically what Kevin on my show on Redneck Wednesdays. He's a militia member, right? I would never go be a militia member, but that's what he likes to do on his off time. As long as it's not and he's not a racist. He's got a black wife, So.
Oh man, that's the most racist thing somebody could say, man.
It is not a racist.
Like,
okay, how would a racist?
Hold on, that's like no.
How can a racist be a racist against black people and marry a black woman?
Plenty.
I know. Well, that's like being black is an oxymoron, but like being black racist is an oxymoron. But that's another topic. But what I'm saying is that's the number one go-to line. That's like if somebody say, "Hey man, hey Nathan, you're a racist." They're like, "No, I'm not racist. I got 2 black friends."
That's different than marrying them. That's different than marrying them.
You
right.
can
well, I'm just saying.
still be racist, Like I have a Mexican daughter, she's half Mexican. But if she, I mean,
if somebody said you hated Hispanic people, full well you'd be like, "What are you talking about? My daughter's half Hispanic."
Well,
no,
you would say, "Hey, I had sex with a Hispanic."
What if hypothetically, what if I was dressing her in such a way or doing things to her to make her look more white? What if I was
First of all, as our Hispanic friend told us,
in the militia, it has a black wife.
All right, listen. He's got a half black wife, and you know what? She's beautiful, and he's not racist. I know him, but the media would paint him out to be racist. That was my point. Kevin and Kathleen are great friends of mine. Because of his affiliation and his sympathy for the 3%ers and the gun rights movement and all that stuff. If the media had its way, they would call the NRA a hate group, okay? The media and the Southern Poverty Law Center, who's been found to be crooked, by the way, call everybody that they disagree with a racist. That's the case. I mean...
My wife is 25% average. So some nights I'm with a white woman, and some nights I'm with a black woman, and hey,
and every night she's with a black man.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right.
Every big word of the day, by the way. Big word of the day. I'm glad, Natalie, that you got back on because a liberal tried to use this against me. I'm like, oh, there you go, trying to sound smart. See, a lot of people, like, when they debate me online, they think, like, oh, he's just one of them dumb conservatives. They don't realize that, I've actually been to college, got a graduate degree or 2, and all that stuff. You would have
what black people call, you got game. You got game.
I got game. I got educational game. Big word of the day, ultra-crepidarianism. What does that mean? Anybody? Ultra-crepidarianism. Now, I left it, while we were talking a minute ago, I left it on the screen so that all my viewers can cheat.
Mm-hmm.
But for you guys, it means... it is the habit of giving opinions and advice on matters outside of one's knowledge. In other words, all these fake epidemiologists that are on the internet now, they're ultra crepidarians. They're ultra crepidarians. So I learned that word from a liberal today. I'm like, oh, aren't you so smart? But I secretly had to go look it up.
Ultra crepidarian. That's dope. I'm going to have to add that to one of, I teach my kids if they bring me a new word, they got to use it in a sentence. So
all day long. To add that. All day long. That way it gets in there. And pretty soon they're going to go to school like, oh my God, my teacher's an ultra-crepidarian. And she's not even going to know what he's saying. Your kids are going to insult the teacher and she won't even know it. Dude, it's like a whole nother language.
Nah, I got to be careful. I don't want them to talk to teachers now.
That's right. That's why this is an adult show. This is why our kids should not be watching this. Tell Julianne to go to bed.
Exactly.
Uncle Nate says go to bed. All right, news. Quick news. Coronavirus is not man-made or genetically modified. U.S. intelligence agency concludes, but spies are probing whether it leaked from Wuhan lab by accident.
We already know.
Yep. J. Crew is preparing to file for bankruptcy after being forced to close all its stores along with other retailers. You know, it's not just from coronavirus. People aren't like into like big, very expensive clothes anymore, except for shoes. Nike still makes a killing. But besides that, people don't really. You know, when I was younger, man, you had to have Girbaud jeans. Remember we talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Girbaud jeans, Guess, and Diamonds, and Used, and all that stuff, yeah.
But now, man, you know, I mean, as long as you're not wearing rustlers, I think you're okay. Maybe it's just because I'm 43 and I just don't give a shit anymore. But
yeah, no, they still by design, like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Polo, True Religion. They still.
Yeah, but my kids are in junior high and they don't, you know, they want nice clothes, but they don't care the brand name. Like when I was a kid, man, like I told you, I went to high school, was wearing just a regular polo, not a Ralph Lauren polo, and I got called, oh, fake polo, you're such a loser, right? And I'm like, man, this sucks, you know, I'm poor.
Yeah, but look, it seems like the poorest or the most urban environments care about the most superficial things.
They do, because they don't have the money, that's right.
Yeah,
but they also take the best care of their cars, too. Have you ever noticed that rich kids, they always, when they get their first car, they're like hot rodding it and all that? Not us, man. We're like buffing the freaking rust on the side of our car. And
cleaning at the gas station.
Hell
and,
yeah.
You know,
Hell yeah.
But, you know, that's just appreciating, you know, what you have because you don't have much. But you can't expect a kid that has everything to have the same value sense. So, I mean, America, you know, is built like that.
Hey,
my kids don't know nothing about the struggle I had.
Oh, I know. Yeah. My kids cry about something like you are exactly what they talk about in white privilege. You are a little rich white kid. Shut up and go crying.
Like, I don't even eat ramen noodles right now. I can't stand them.
My kids love them.
My kids eat ramen noodles. They love it like it's a delicacy. They know to doctor it all up. And I'm like, man, I won't eat no ramen noodles for nothing unless I just have a wild craving for it once a year.
I remember when I was about 20, when I was living on my own, I remember a good 6 months of ramen noodles every day, and I cannot eat them anymore. I remember. My kids doctor them, put soy sauce in there.
Oh, yeah. My kids love them. Love them.
I remember when up in way northern Michigan, middle of nowhere is where Natalie kind of spent most of her childhood, but she worked at Burger King in town. I remember that. Mm-hmm. I visited her at Burger King. All right.
Did she give you the hookup?
She didn't even give me a free Whopper, man.
She looked like she'd give you that for free, man.
She won't. She's by the book.
You didn't even tell me you were coming in. And so
man.
I was trying to surprise her. You think she'd surprise me with a free Whopper or fries or something, right?
Yeah, throw you an extra cheese fry or something.
Well, you know what? I was like I was a crew member. I wasn't even a manager. How could I give you anything?
Because you could have been like, oh, hey, this customer he just came through the drive-thru and he didn't get his Whopper or something. Like, we used to do some hood shit back in the day. We used to go through.
Yeah, you just pack the bag and just throw it in there. Grab the extra burger, just throw it in there, shoot it to him like, hey,
good hooker, brother. Couldn't hook a literal brother up.
I remember when you came to Burger King in Grayling to visit, because that was how I met Whitley. Like my sister-in-law of freaking 15 years or something. I mean, this was so long ago. And I remember that's how I met her. And I was like, you're like, oh, this is Whitley. And I think you said, you know, we're going to get married or something like that. And I was like, hi. And I'm like in like greasy, like.
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Hey. How old are you now?
I am 33.
Yeah, because you're the same age as my wife.
Yeah. You're 10 years old.
Big pimping right here, baby. 43 with a 33-year-old hot wife.
Hey,
next story.
I'm going to tell you what you told me, but we'll do it offline. I'm going to on this, what you told me a long, long time ago.
Oh.
You don't want me to say it, but
go ahead. I want you to say it. Go ahead.
You said, we was back in Minneapolis. I don't know if we was at ATC or something. He's like, you know what, brother? If you can't find a good woman, raise one.
That's right. You can't find a good woman, you raise one. Joe Biden agrees with me.
I never.
Nathan.
Hey.
You shame our family.
Wait, time out. Unlike Joe, hey, I waited till they're 18 for the most part, okay?
Can't find a good woman, gotta raise one.
That's right. That's right.
And I said, good luck.
You know
Good
how,
luck to you, brother.
and you know what? You know how you could find a old school back in the day, a good recruiter who knew how to close the deal or salesman? If they're ugly and they have a hot wife, they're a good salesman because they can close any deal, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. We ain't the best looking guys, but guess what?
Hey, we got game, baby.
That's right. We know how to close a
got
deal.
game.
ABC. Hey, you know what? It's the law of averages, man. You ask 100 girls, you want to come home with me tonight? One of them is stupid enough to say yeah. So
that's the best recruiters, man.
right. It's all about numbers, baby.
The club is closed at 2 and 15 minutes before it's about to close, and you ain't got nothing. You pay.
Hey,
let's see how good you.
In recruiter world, we say you rolled a donut, a 0. All right. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. We're gonna keep going right through these because we're. Oh, actually, I think I'm on the last story, which is perfect timing because we only got about 4 minutes left. But dude, this is where I don't like giving Democrats props, but unlike the left who drinks the Kool-Aid, like my boy Keith, you know who you are if you're watching, or Jeremy Colby. No matter what, you can't tell him that he would never admit when a Republican is right. I can say when a Democrat is doing good. So can my friend Kareem. But Cuomo has done a good job. Yeah,
my favorite Democrat.
And you know, mine too right now. Mine too. Minus his gun stance and maybe abortion. But besides, I could talk to him about that when he joins us on our show.
Yeah.
But
Colby has admitted when Republicans are right.
He's never admitted to me when he's wrong. But subway homeless crisis is and I could talk about Jeremy because he's been on our show as a guest host. I wouldn't normally call anybody out like that.
Shout out to Jeremy.
That's right. Subway homeless crisis is disgusting and disrespectful, Governor Cuomo said. The homelessness situation on city subways is disgusting and disrespectful to New Yorkers who depend on mass transit. This is disgusting what is happening on those subway cars. He said that it's taxpayer supported and they deserve more. You know what's funny about him is he's taking on another super liberal Democrat, his honor, the Honorable de Blasio. Not very honorable, by the way, but de Blasio is like this super liberal. So now his honor, de Blasio, is now saying, well, you know what? Yeah, maybe we'll have to get tougher on these people. Mayor de Blasio's failure on the homeless has taken a new toxic turn in the coronavirus crisis as they've taken over the subways, boosting risk to frontline workers themselves. Tuesday, his honor seemed to bend after videos and reports highlighted the horror on the trains, and a post column by New York City transit boss Sarah Feinberg blasted the city for not providing homeless services in the subway. De Blasio offered 200 beds to the homeless. Basically, he's like, hey, get them out of here. I'm pro-homeless, or I'm pro-poor people, but they're stinking up my subway cars. Who's right here, by the way, Natalie? Is it the ultra-liberal?
Offered them 200.
He offered 200 beds, but there's thousands and thousands of homeless. I mean, who's right here? Is it should homeless people be treated with dignity and respect and allowed to stay there and sleep on the cars, or should they be booted out in the middle of the night so that the taxpayers and the hard workers have a nice, clean space to get to work?
They should never be booted out. They should, if they have to get them out of there because of the COVID-19, they should find a place for them.
Convenient. Governor Whitmer uses that to take your rights away.
Like they did for the hospitals.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, Natalie, if you was a nurse had to go to a shift at 2 in the morning and you got on the train and you see a bunch of homeless people, would you feel comfortable getting on that train by yourself?
Well, if I had to get on a train with a bunch of homeless people?
Well, you don't know what their status is. You just see people sleeping on the train and just...
Because rich white liberals never have to get on the train, so they're like super liberal.
I said though, I didn't say to leave them there. I said take them and find some tents or find somewhere to keep them, warm, or find a place where they can isolate.
Hey, guess what? We have to cut it off now because we are down to our last 50 seconds. It was a pleasure having you on again, Kareem. Anytime you want, you don't have to just come on Thursdays. Just text me. Come on any night you want. Natalie, as usual, it's a pleasure. Natalie is actually going
to come on with the rednecks.
Yeah,
I want to join the rednecks.
All right, next Wednesday, baby. You're on.
Yeah.
Natalie, real quick. We are doing a special episode tomorrow. We have 2 special guests. They actually work with me. One was a former EOD explosives guy in the Army, the Lombardi family. We will see you then. Good night.
This has been Nightcaps with Nate. Please join Nate for a nightcap every weeknight at 9 Eastern here on Facebook Live.
Peace.